to everyone. I'm Bill Dempsey, and I will be the moderator for this debate. I want to welcome you to the fourth debate between the teenage Republicans and the young Democrats in the past 12 years. This year we have an additional participant, the young independents. We hope that through hearing the issues discussed, you will be able to make an informed decision about which candidate to support in the election to be held today in the library at both lunch periods. Your ticket stub to this event will be your voting pass in the library. There will be some bells, of course, that will sound to mark the passing from one period to another. If you will just ignore those bells, you will be dismissed from here at the end of the debate. Due to the limited amount of time that we have, and in order to hear all the issues that are going to be discussed this morning, I'd like to ask you to be quiet, listen to the debate, but not participate with applause until the very end of the debate. You should also not suggest any disapproval or approval any other way during the debate itself. Without, of course, faculty support, an event like this could not take place, and I'd like to publicly thank Mr. Goler, Mr. DeMoss, Mrs. Beeson, Mrs. Krishna. These are the staff who worked with the debaters. Also, Mrs. Choctaw and Mrs. Harris, who have helped out in the physical setup for the debate. Now I'd like to introduce the debaters on the teams. First of all, representing the Young Democrats, to my right, Carol Worley. Let's give them applause at this time. Also, John Nutter and Drew Gates. Representing the Young Independents in the center, Jennifer Patman, Michael Phillips, and Monroe Sanford. Thank you very much. Representing the teenage Republicans on the far side of the stage, Julie Benjamin, Steve Ward, and Aaron Ward. Now we'll go over the rules for the debate. The rules are as follows. We will ask, first of all, the question will be directed to one of the teams. In this case, having been drawn by lot, the Young Republicans will go first, followed by the Young Independents, and then the Young Democrats. The first question then will be asked to the teenage Republicans. They will have 2 minutes for their response to the question. The Young Democrats and the Young Independents will have 1 minute rebuttal each. The next question, then the teenage Republicans will have a final 1 minute to finish up that question. The next question will go to the Young Independents. They will have a 2 minute response, and each of the other teams will have a 1 minute rebuttal, and the Young Independents getting the final word, and so forth, all the way through the debate. Each team, at the end of the debate, beginning with the Young Republicans, followed by the Young Independents, followed by the Young Democrats, will have 2 minutes for their closing statements right before the end of the debate. Okay. If everyone is ready, we will begin our debate this morning. This first question then is for teenage Republicans. We have a $4 trillion deficit in this country. Just to make it clear how big a trillion is, there haven't been a trillion seconds since the birth of Christ. It takes over 30,000 years for there to be 1 trillion seconds. The national deficit is $4 trillion. By what means would your candidate lower the deficit and improve the United States economy?
To lower the deficit, George Bush has proposed the balanced budget amendment and a line item veto. These two will allow or will stop the Senate Congress from wasting our tax money. To improve the economy, we have to look at that in the past, the global situation has been focused on the Cold War, and much of our own spending for the defense has been focused on the Cold War. Well, we won the Cold War, and it's over. Bush has now proposed the removal of the troops from Europe. That will decrease expenditures there. We have to look at, as communism fell, the new republics arose. They needed aid. We aided them. Now that these republics are starting to stand on their own, we are decreasing aid to them. This money is now being refocused to our own economy. Bush is committed to the development of free enterprise zones and cutting the capital gains tax to create incentives for the small businessmen. The extremist Democrats call for government regulations for all of this. Bush is committed to allowing America to invest in our own free market society. Only through growth in business, not taxes, can the economy prosper. Remember, for the last 12 years, Republicans have been in the White House. Inflation has been the lowest it has ever been in 30 years. Interest rates have dropped 15 percentage points. Productivity has risen sharply, and exports are booming.
Thank you very much. Now the Young Independents will have 1 minute for your rebuttal.
Bush has had 4 years, and he's done nothing but damage. It's time we get someone in there that will stop the damage and get something good going for the United States. Okay, I'd like to go down some facts about the situation of our economy caused by Bush. Okay, right now we have a $4.1 trillion deficit. 4 trillion. That is 9 zeros. Okay, this debt has occurred, 75% of this debt has occurred during the last 4 years, as I've already pointed out. And did you know there's a $5 trillion debt that you don't know about because Congress has kept it hidden? Also, 71% of this debt is payable in the next 5 years by the finance plan that Congress has created. $60 billion for savings and loan bailouts. Okay, and on federal spending, the factory production is at an all-time low. Likewise, so is consumer spending and payroll employment.
Okay, I'm sorry, time is up. We'll have to have 1 minute by the Young Democrats.
Okay, the economy. What are we going to do about it? Well, first thing, we got to get this deficit out of the way. We got to solve the economy, okay? Now, how are we going to do it? We're going to invest in infrastructure in the United States, okay? Let me say something that the Republicans said a minute ago. They said that Bush proposed a balanced budget amendment. Well, it took him 3.5 years to do that, and that was a half a year ago when he did it, and his own party voted it down. 3.5 years just to propose something like that, it's a long time for me. To improve this economy, the first thing we need to do, like I said, is invest in infrastructure. Now, the way we need to do this is the economy will improve when we invest in the country, and this creates jobs. Jobs such as building new bridges, new schools, highways, airports, etc. Now, these jobs are not government jobs. They are private.
Okay, I'm sorry your time is up. Thank you. 1 minute is really not very long. Finally, we'll have 1 minute by the Young Republicans.
I'd like to say that the Democrats believe in tax and spend. Bush has called for the Democrats to stop the spending, the wasteful pork barrel spending in Congress. We propose to stop the tax increases. They don't... stop the wasteful spending. You can't increase the economy by taxing the people. People will stop putting back into the economy. We have to stop the wasteful spending.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question will be addressed to the Young Independents. We're going to need the audience to be a little quieter, please. Thanks. Young Independents, are additional taxes necessary to lower the deficit and balance the budget?
Before I answer this question, I'd like to bring out one more fact. Did you know that in job loss there are more people working for the government than in manufacturing? Thank you, George Bush. Okay, it is time for us as Americans to decide what is our main priority. To get rid of a $4 million deficit, $4.1 trillion debt deficit, or to take a sacrifice and allow for tax rates. Tax increases are the only possible way for us to get out of this, to get rid of our $4.1 trillion deficit. Both George Bush and Clinton have proposed plans, but if you've actually looked at their figures, they can't add, because the way that the taxes that they have raised or their jobs that they're going to create will not add up to $4.1 trillion. There's no way. Do you realize how many years it will take? With Perot's plan, it will take 5 years to raise the taxes that is necessary to try to get our deficit down. And there's a two-way process. Improve tax collection and raise taxes on businesses, on foreign businesses as our first step. Okay. Also, he wants to reduce tax exemptions for the rich, increase taxes on the top 4% of the population, and improve the tax collecting process. If you improve on the tax collecting process, there will not be all the lying and cheating on your taxes, and therefore the money that should be going to the IRS will go to the IRS. Okay, another policy approach that has received a lot of flack is the gradual increase on the gasoline industry. Right now in France, per gallon, France receives $2.25 per
I'm sorry,
gallon.
your time is up.
We only receive 35 cents per gallon on gasoline.
Okay, 1 minute for the Young Democrats for rebuttal.
First of all, we want to say that America is caught in the grip of a failed economy. In 12 years, we have gone from first in the world in wages to 13th. We've gone from leading lender to leading debtor. 4 years ago, Bush promised us 15 million new jobs, and today he's over 14 million short. The question is, are taxes necessary? Yes. And Bill Clinton has proposed a 5% increase in taxes to those who make $200,000 or more a year, and a 1% reduction in the American middle class. In order to balance the budget, we must not only raise taxes, we need to shut the door on the something-for-nothing decade, invest in communities, encourage private investments in America, open up world markets. So you see, raising taxes is a small part of reducing the $4 trillion deficit. It's rebuilding America and putting Americans back to work that's going to lower the deficit.
Okay, thank you. Let's call your call, please. Okay, Young Republicans.
Increase taxes on those who make over $200,000 a year. With the amount of federal spending Clinton has proposed, promise that will not pay for it. It's going to have to go down into the middle class and increase taxes there. He's proposed a 9% payroll tax. That's more than we have now, and that would break the back of the working class man. You don't need taxes to lower the deficit. You need to cut out the spending, the wasteful spending in Congress. Stop the Congress from spending, and you'll keep your money. Bush wants you to keep your money. They want to take your money.
All right, and the Young Independents will have the last word.
Okay, again on the tax, there will be an increase on the taxes on gasoline. Neither of the teams have questioned this, so therefore they must agree with it because they've not said anything against this increase on the gasoline, and they have not questioned what it will stop and how it will be how it will not be beneficial.
Another point I would like to make is that Mr. Perot is in the top 4% of the wealthy. And why would it make sense to tax yourself if you did not think it was worth it? The gasoline tax is just one thing. You want to take your country back. You want to live the American dream. Stick out your neck, stick out your wallet, pay the taxes, and get the country back on the right track.
Okay, you still have a little time left. We'll assume that you're finished. Now we'll direct the next question. This question has to do with health care to the Young Democrats. There are 60 million Americans without health insurance in this country. What role does your party believe the federal government should play in the healthcare system in the United States.
Okay, healthcare is a problem that not many of us really understand. We've got 60 million working people without adequate health insurance. Since 1980, the cost of health insurance rose from $1,000 to $3,000 a year. Clinton wants to cap national spending to control healthcare costs, take on the insurance industry, stop drug price gouging, establish a core benefits package, and develop health networks. And he also wants to guarantee universal coverage for all the people. Bush's plan does not cover everyone. We all need health care. Everybody gets sick. Clinton's plan covers all working people. An average day at the hospital costs $700. Something has to be done, and Bill Clinton will do it.
Okay, like John said, a lot of people don't know much about health care. But when you're sick, and if you're over 65, Medicare is going to pay for this. And for the poor, Medicaid will pay for it. Now, if you're under 60, the government, with Bush's plan, it offers a very, very small step if you're under 60. Now, Clinton's plan helps in this. Now, healthcare is, okay. When people go into the hospital, say you worked all your life, you had a good job, and you had a heart attack when you were 60 years old. You go in the hospital and you lose all your life savings with that. Now, with Bush's plan, there's nothing to help you out. Your life savings is gone. After staying in the hospital, however...
All right. Sorry, your time is up. We'll give the Republicans 1 minute for rebuttal to this question about health care.
Republicans believe government control of health care is irresponsible and ineffective. We believe that health care choices should remain in the hands of the people, not government bureaucrats. If the government tries to take control of health care, you'll begin to see long waiting lists for operations and treatment for the sick. The health care systems we have now are much better than the government-controlled systems of other countries. The other countries that have waiting lists take up 2 or 3 years for major operations. The President aims to make coverage available to all, guaranteed renewable with no preconditions. Under his plan, no one will have to go broke to get well. Thank you.
All right. Young Independents, health care.
Okay, first of all, we spend more than any other country on health care, and we're ranked number 15. If we're going to spend our money on first-rate health care, it's up to us to go out and make sure that we get it. Second of all, there's no limits on health care, so doctors and insurance companies are able to tax us and make sure that they get their money out of it and we don't get our service. As President, Ross Perot will make health care affordable to all. Thank you.
All right, and the final word, Young Democrats, on health care.
Okay, I'll finish a little bit of my story. Okay, this guy's in the hospital, his life savings is gone, he's under 65, Medicare can't help him. Okay, now, the Republicans want the people to control health care. Well, the people have controlled health care, and we have a crisis. We have to do something about it. Now, Bill Clinton's plan helps this. There's the step with people under 65 is greater than with Bush's plan. If any of you have any relatives or anything who have been in the hospital, and like John said, it costs $700 a day to stay in the hospital. One day, that's without nurses, nothing. That's just a bed staying there. Now, something has to be done because this is a big problem. People get sick, and we have to do something.
I just want to make one last comment.
I'm sorry. We'll have to wait on that last comment. The next question will be directed to the young Republicans and has to do with the environment. The question is it possible both to protect the environment and save jobs? I would give an example perhaps of the saving of the spotted owl versus the logging industry in the Northwest as an example of that question.
Yes, we can protect the environment and save jobs. We spent more than any other country under environmental protection over the past 20 years. We've led the world in investing for the protection of the environment. We have taught the world 3 vital lessons on the environment. First, environmental progress is directly related to economic advancement. Second, the growth of the economy, which means more jobs, generates the money to pay for the environment's needs. Third, private ownership and economic freedom are the best security against the depletion of the environment. When we spend money for the protection against the environment, we're spending money for new jobs and paying for old jobs. We can take care of our environment and also save jobs, even create new ones. Bill Clinton and Al Gore are environmental extremists. They want to cut jobs just to save a certain type of owl. As Republicans, we believe there can be a balance between the environment and jobs. We believe in protecting the endangered species, but we also believe in protecting our country's jobs. Thank you.
All right. 1 minute rebuttal to that question on the environment to the young independents.
We also agree that it is possible to protect jobs and save the environment, because it is up to us to protect what gives us life and what also protects us. It's also up to us to save the planet. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Democrats.
Okay. Also, it will be able to create new jobs because Mr. Perot will present plans, and by this he will go into the companies and the businesses, the manufacturing businesses, and there will be standards set, and there will be new jobs offered to people who have the education in environmental safety, who will be able to monitor the manufacturer or the businesses to make sure that they meet all the standards set by the Department of by the different departments, so therefore the same thing.
Okay, thank you. Now your time is up. Young Democrats.
During President Bush's presidency, he has ignored the threat of global warming, undermined enforcement of the Clean Air Act, supported drilling in Alaska's precious Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and opposed efforts to increase recycling. The United States ought to lead the world in the environmental protection, but instead Bush has been dragging his feet at international environment summits and ignoring his promises here at home. Strong national environment standards create jobs. They don't cause them to disappear. So you shouldn't weaken the Clean Air Act. Instead, you should figure out how to see new businesses that can provide high-wage jobs and complying with them. In order to improve the environment, the Clinton Gore administration will, 1, reduce solid and toxic waste and air and water pollution, preserve places of natural beauty and ecological importance, such as national parks and wilderness areas. 3, provide international leadership to advance our own nation's interests in a healthier global economy. Thank you.
Okay. Final word on the environment, young Republicans.
Let me say again, Bill Clinton and Al Gore are environmental extremists. This means that they will do anything and everything to save the environment, and yet that means cutting jobs. We need an environment. We can protect the environment and save jobs. We can do this because when we have economic investment, that means we can pay for the environment and what it needs. We can save jobs and also save the environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank the teams for those responses. Now we'll shift gears a little bit. Abortion has been a major issue in every election since 1980. This question is being directed to the independents. Should government have the power to restrict abortions, or should the decision to have an abortion be up to the woman involved?
Okay, I'll keep this short. I feel personally that when it comes to abortion, it's the woman's choice. No one, not even the government, has that right to take that choice from anybody. Thank you.
Mr. Perot does not support abortion as a means of birth control. He does not. That is the last thing that he wants. He also realizes that we are humans and we have this thinking and reasoning ability to make our own decisions. And he believes that the government should not get involved to try to make this decision for a woman. Thank you.
Okay, we'll give the Young Democrats 1 minute rebuttal on this question.
Abortion is not an issue. The Clinton administration believes the abortion choice is between the woman and her doctor. The choice is not between the woman, her doctor, and the President of the United States. The Clinton administration is not pro-abortion, but rather pro-choice, believing in the fundamental right of a woman to choose. And by the way, I kind of find it hard to believe that someone who is against abortion can also favor the death penalty.
Just an interesting note real quick. 12 years ago, before Bush was with Reagan, he was pro-choice. Now he's pro-life.
Okay, Young Republicans.
First of all, I'd like to say that the Republicans support the right of a woman to her own body and support the right to choose. In an abortion, the woman is killing someone else. It's not her own body. The right to choose, she made her choice when she decided to have sex. It might have been in the backseat of the car, it might have been in the bed, but she made that choice. They say they don't want government interference. And abortion, I'm sorry, there's 4,000 lives a day they're killing. The government should get involved. Death penalty, the child has not done anything to deserve the death. The person, the criminal, has deserved death. Okay. Clinton and Gore have both referred to the Bible in their speeches. We have to look at Deuteronomy 24:16, which says, "Child shall not die for the sins of its father." Forget rape and incest. That's killing. Okay? Got it? There.
Okay, we're going to give the Young Independents the final word on this question.
You say we get rape and incest, but you have to look at it. Most women are not ready or willing to face the fact of having to raise a child that they did not want to conceive. So, like I said in the beginning, it is up to the woman, and it is not up to the government.
Again, Mr. Perot is not for this as means of birth control. And what the people supporting Bush has proposed is basically their opinion. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. But the question is, should the government be involved? Should the government step in? Thank you. The government should say this is a personal decision between the woman who is in this position and her doctor and maybe her family members and those who are around her. The government should not get involved. Whether you agree with it or not, it's just a matter of principle, but the government should not be involved.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd just like to remind everyone, these are volatile issues. We all understand that, but our debate is rapidly becoming 3 campaign rallies. So let's try to focus here on the academics of this debate. The next question will be directed to the Young Democrats. It has to do with something that is near and dear to everyone here, the education system. The United States educational system is rapidly becoming a second-rate system. What does your candidate plan to do to solve the problem?
Government fails when our schools fail. For 4 long years, we've heard a lot of talk about the education president, but seen little government action to invest in the collective talents of our people. The Republicans have promised but never delivered full funding for the Head Start program for preschool-aged children. In order to solve the problem of the drowning American public school system, the Clinton Gore administration will: 1. Inspire children and their parents to work together. 2. Fully fund programs that save several dollars for each $1 spent. Establish tough standards. By the year 2000, the United States wants the high school graduation rate to increase from 71% to 90%, which is the international standard. 4. Clinton wants to make our schools safe again. He wants to get the drugs and the guns out. And 5, Clinton wants to invest in worker retraining programs. It's not just the children that we want to educate, it's the adults. Just in Arkansas, Clinton has proposed that anyone who drops out of high school gets their license taken away. And if that's not a deterrent from you dropping out of school, what can be? And also, in 1983, 14,000 adults in Arkansas were enrolled in adult education. In 1983, today, there are over 50,000 adults enrolled in adult education. And by the year 1993, there will be over 70,000 adults enrolled in adult education. Thank you.
All right. We will have 1 minute rebuttal by the young Republicans on this question of education.
Okay. We all know that in business, competition makes the business better. If you are told and you can only buy at one store, that store doesn't have to provide any competition. It doesn't have to provide the best prices, and it doesn't have to deliver quality. In education, our education has become second rate. We have to do something to make it better. President Bush has proposed vouchers for $1,000 for low or middle income families so they can choose whether they want to go to a public, private, or religious school. The competition within this will make the better schools get the money and the incompetent schools terminated.
Okay, young independents, education.
Education in our school is like second to none, is what everyone wants you to believe. Well, that's a lie. Our schools are second rate to Japan. A little bitty old island out there has their students more educated than we are. Then you ask why our markets are in such bad shape. Because nobody knows anything. You have to take education first, and that's what Mr. Perot is going to do. Make education is most important besides the economy. You make money and you're educated, then you have the right to take your country back because you're smart enough to do it. If you just sit around and mess around with your education, you're not going to make anything of yourself and you're not going to make anything of your country. This country is great. What makes it great is you. And when you're educated, you can make it better than any other country on this planet.
Okay. Final word on this question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have one question. How will these vouchers hurt our economy with an already $4.1 trillion deficit? Think about it.
Okay. Now the final word.
I just want to say something about the $1,000 vouchers that President Bush is proposing to give. Let's say you give a $1,000 voucher to someone in the middle class or lower class. That $1,000 is not going to pay the thousands of dollars it takes to attend a private school. If this $1,000 voucher does become in effect, essentially what is going to happen is you're going to have the depletion of the public school system because everyone is going to be going to the private schools, and when you have the depletion of the public school system, you have those children that are lower to middle income families that can't afford it and have to attend the public schools. Thanks.
All right, that's the last word on education. Now we'll turn our attention to family values. Republicans, much has been said about family values and family in this election. Would you please define family and tell what your party means by family values?
Okay, most everyone will believe that a family is a mother and a father who are married and their children. George Bush has committed to ruling this country with a firm moral hand. When a child is born into the world, he or she knows nothing about teen pregnancy or murder or homosexuality, which, by the way, you aren't born with. But the environment in which that child grows up in is going to influence his or her decisions when he goes out into the world. Clinton, who is a radical supporter of schools educating children about drug abuse and sex, has
boasted several times throughout the election that Arkansas is #1 in so many areas. Well, congratulations, Arkansas. We have had sex education now for several years, and teenage pregnancy is up 15 to 20%. Is that what we want for America? We have also learned that we are able to receive contraceptives from the school nurse, but we can't even receive an aspirin without parental permission. Another issue is homosexuality. Right now, gay rights activists are pushing to get married and adopt children and serve in the military and become teachers. Okay, the Republican platform recognizes the rights of an individual to choose to be homosexual as their sexual preference. However, our rights are going to be infringed if my child, when I have one, if my child has a homosexual teacher. Pardon me, that's an infringement on my rights. Although a teacher may not bring his or her sexual preferences into the classroom, a teacher is supposed to serve as a role model. Role model, not... Okay, that gets my point across. School is not the answer to our problems. Government is not the answer to our problems. We cannot afford to elect a president who is going to take away our right to educate our own children and instill our own morals.
Thank you very much. Your time's up. Young independent.
You cannot define a family as a mother and father. You can define a family as your friends, you can define your family as a mother and father, but there really is no true definition of a family. You could have a good group of friends who you accept their values as your own. Now, family values is something that's been a whole lot of controversy on this campaign. Some are for, some are against. If you want a person up here who's going to talk about homosexuals and mommy and daddy not doing right, well then elect them for your Sunday school teacher. Get somebody who's in there and do the job right as president. Get the economy back on track and get this country back in control, because it's going downhill fast.
Another thing we must keep in mind is, do you realize how many Americans are divorced and how many children live in a divorced environment where their parents are divorced? No, just about 75% of all American couples have been divorced at least once in their lifetime, and each of their kids are having to go through this along with them. And this is where you have to turn to your friends and your peers.
Okay, I'm sorry, the time. Young Democrats. The question is family values.
The question was on family values. It kind of strayed from the issue, I think, there. The definition of a family is a group of people living together, sharing love and support. In today's world, many families are made up of single-parent families. There's nothing wrong with it. In the 80s, Washington abandoned working families, forcing millions to work harder and harder for nothing. While taxes fell for the rich and incomes rose for the rich, middle-class families had to work harder for less money. Clinton Gore will support the Family Leave Bill, tax relief for families, and the Child Care Network.
One thing that really bugs me about the Republicans is, who are they to judge us? You know, I've been brought up in a Christian environment. I'm a Christian. And I've learned that there's one person that judges other people. I'm not to judge other people. I don't see where people get this inside them that they can judge other people.
All right, I'm
I
sorry.
do not agree
Your
with
time is up, and the Republicans will have the last word on family values.
The Republicans aren't here to judge people. I am not here to judge a homosexual or to judge someone because of what you believe in. That is not the point. The point is, families have a right to instill their own values into a child. A child grows up with their parents' values. And when a school takes away the right of you to educate your own child, it's not fair. God gave you that child. You don't have, and nobody else is supposed to raise it for you. And the ideal family, okay, when I said that a family is a mother and a father who are married with their children, I said the traditional American family. That is what the traditional American family is. Right now, we have divorced families, and that's okay to an extent. But the ideal family is God and a man and a wife. And I just, to say that
Okay?
Okay.
Sorry, your time is up. All right, our next question will be addressed to the young independents, and it has to do with something that's a problem that we all recognize, crime. Crime is a major problem in the cities in the United States. Some have related this problem to drugs, lack of gun control, or perhaps the breakdown of the family. What does your party see as a solution to the crime problem?
Okay. Right now, crime is a growing problem in the United States. There are many solutions, but what I feel is a good solution is teaching family values. In Washington, D.C. right now, 51% of 4th and 5th graders witness shootings, 43 witness muggings, 67 witness drug deals, 75 witness arrests. This goes on right across the street from our state, our United States capital. Okay, now, another solution is, since we have a lot of military veterans that are out of work, why don't we put them in place of the law enforcement, which, like was stated, law enforcement, we're running out of options. A lot of people are afraid to take that job. So again, like I said, we should put the military veterans in that place. Thank you.
Okay, in the past, we had 3 police officers for each crime. Do you know what that is today? Today we have 1 police officer for every 3 crimes. We need to reroute these veterans, as was stated before, and let them be our police officers, because they can probably protect us better than most police officers today can. Nothing negative towards our police officers.
Okay, we'll let the young Democrats have 1 minute rebuttal.
Crime definitely does tie to the breakdown of family, like you said, and this is due to financial problems. People don't steal usually just to steal. They steal for money, to buy drugs, or just for money, because they don't have money. Now, people ask what Clinton supports on crime. He supports the Brady Bill, which is a 7-day waiting period to buy a gun. He is in favor of domestic production of assault weapons. He is in favor of limiting this production. And he is in favor of limiting access to multi-round clips. Now, people are going to say Clinton is not a sportsman. Well, Clinton has lived in Arkansas, and he has actively supported hunters' rights and will continue to do so. He's not saying you can't go buy a gun to go hunting with, because he hunts. It just means you don't need a Uzi to go kill a deer. I mean, now, for punishment, he is in favor of creating boot camps for first-time
your time is up.
nonviolent offenders.
Thank you. Young Republicans.
All right, let me ask a question to the independents. Where are we going to get the money to pay for the veterans? Right. For the past 12 years, 2 Republican presidents have fought to reverse the trend on soft-on-crime judges approving early release programs. Along with the Republican officials, they have named tough law and order judges, pushed for minimum mandatory sentences, and expand federal assistance to states and localities, sought to help states redress court orders on prison overcrowding, and devoted record resources that are turning the tide against drugs. For too long, our criminal justice system has carefully protected the rights of the criminals and neglected the suffering of the innocent victims of crime and their families. We support the right of crime victims to be present, heard, and informed throughout the criminal justice process, and to be provided with restitution and services to aid their recovery.
Okay, thank you very much. And the final word on the crime question to the young independents.
Let me ask you a question. If you saw somebody do something, get arrested, and walk scot-free 2 days later, wouldn't you go out and do it? I think you would. But you have to crack down on the justice system. Crime is always going to be there. There's no way you can eliminate crime. No way by giving them money or sitting there cracking down on anything. No, you have to. The only thing you can crack down on is the justice system. If somebody murders someone, they need to be locked up, and they need to be fried in the chair. There's no doubt about it. They don't need to sit on death row for 8 years and take up your tax money and then sit there and just live it up, you know. Or they commit murder, then they get life in prison, which they just sit there and waste your tax dollars. Do you know the government spends more money on a prisoner than it does on you and your education system? Now, don't you think that's a bit messed up? Because if a prisoner is going to have more money spent on him, then why don't you just go knock over a bank and get sent to jail? You'll be getting more money that way. And, you know, more money is what you want, then go get it, because, you know, it's just plain and simple.
Okay, I'm sorry, your time is up. Our next question will be asked to the young Democrats. The question has to do with a very serious problem. The problem is AIDS. It is a worldwide plague. In the United States alone, some 200,000 people have already died of AIDS. There are approximately 3 million carriers of the AIDS virus. Everyone in the country seems to be at risk. What is your candidate going to do to alleviate the problem of AIDS?
I'm just going to say something a little bit. AIDS started off a homosexual problem. It is no longer a homosexual problem, it is a national problem. We can't just push it under the rug and act like it's not there. It has to be dealt with, and we all have to do it. We live in this country, you know, I wish we didn't have AIDS, but we have to deal with it. So it's this country's problem. It's no longer just the gays, because right now there are more people with AIDS. There are more straight people with AIDS than there are gays. So it's not a homosexual problem anymore.
Governor Clinton realizes the AIDS problem in this country. It is a huge problem. As governor of Arkansas, he formed the first working group of governors to develop an AIDS policy. He also developed confidential testing in all of our counties here in Arkansas. President Bush says that he spends more money on AIDS and AIDS research than any other president. Well, the fact is, the money is authorized by Congress, but the executive branch of our government never really spends it. Clinton and Gore will make sure all the money that is authorized to be spent on AIDS be spent on AIDS.
All right. We have 1 minute by the young Republicans.
Okay. Every time I get up here, this microphone does something funny. Okay, our nation, okay, first of all, I'd like to say I'm not here to preach. I'm serious. I'm not here to preach, okay? But our nation has spent the most money for AIDS research, second only to cancer. To say that we're doing nothing is a tremendous overstatement. We're really, in truth, investing our tax money. I mean, you know, AIDS is a serious problem, and innocent people can get it. But it's a disease that was caused by total immorality and astray from, you know, from what our country was founded on. Our country was founded on morals, and our country was founded on God, the Christian God. And to say that, I mean, you know, we're spending all that money. I mean, AIDS is important. I'm serious. I understand that. But we can't spend all of our money on something that it's ultimately going to destroy us. But to say, there's no turning back now. And there's really not much we can say about it.
Okay. Young Independents?
Okay, the Republicans got up and preached about morals, yet they said that AIDS is a major problem and innocent people suffer. Yet earlier, they condemned condoms in schools. Everybody knows that teenagers have sex. Everybody knows. There's nothing you can stop. So why not? What is wrong with the idea of handing out condoms and saving, 50 cents compared to the amount of money that they spend on people with AIDS? I mean, I think it would save our government money if you go ahead and have these condoms there provided, not hand them out in a sense, just have them available to where you can get them. Instead of spending, $1,000 a day for an AIDS victim? AIDS is a problem, and it is growing worse every day, so we must take precautions now. We must take precautions now and stop the further spread of AIDS. Thank you.
Okay, and the final word, young Democrats.
I would just just wondering if any of you guys saw this article in yesterday's paper, in Sunday's paper. It says, why Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas parents are against Clinton. Now, in this article, they were wanting their children to stand with them, and these are the reasons why they want you, their children, to vote for President Bush. As I said, right here it says issue 2, condom distribution in schools. Clinton said he'd support a national gay rights law and local efforts to make condoms available in schools. That's true. Now, do you want your parents voting for someone that is against this? That is why each and every one of you who are over 18 and are not registered to vote, it's too late for you now, but in 4 more years, you'll be the people to re-elect Clinton.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, our next question will be directed first to the young Republicans. Mr. Bush has consistently blamed the Congress for the economic problems in the United States. If he wins re-election, in what ways will he change his relationship with Congress to avoid gridlock and get vital bills passed?
First of all, Bush has called for a Republican Congress. Bounce the Congress, he said. Get the radical Democrats out of Congress and get moderate, level-headed Republicans into Congress, and gridlock will be no more. Bush will be able to work with the Republican Congress to bring responsibility back to that job. He will make the congressmen responsible for their actions and for the people who elected them. Second of all, you don't want Clinton in there with the Democratic Congress. The last time a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress in there, at the same time, interest rates went up to 21%, double-digit inflation, back-to-back years, mortgage payments doubled, paychecks plunged, and people sat in gas lines. You don't want Clinton in there, he'll just become a rubber stamp for the Democratic Congress, pass anything. They've never seen a tax increase they didn't like. Thank you.
All right. Young Independents. Question is gridlock.
My question is not to you, but to the Republicans. You say that if it's a Democrat, then the president would be a rubber stamp. Well, if it's a Republican, what would it be? Another rubber stamp. What you need to do is you need to get an equal balance of Republicans and Democrats, people who can actually think for their own selves, not the president telling them what to do, and not the Congress telling the president what to do. Mr. Perot is an independent. That means, in case you don't know, he doesn't back either party, and neither party backs him. But he has good ideas that both Republicans and Democrats have supported. And with him in office, he will get things done. I promise you that.
Okay. Young Democrats. Gridlock.
All we've heard throughout this election from President Bush is it's the Congress's fault, Congress is to blame. He called us tax and spend liberals. Well, the last 2 years, the budget that Bush proposed was higher than the budget Congress proposed. We're not tax and spend. Bush is proposing higher spending than Congress is proposing. That is fact. I don't see how he can blame the Congress and call us tax and spend liberals.
Gridlock Democratic Congress. My dog got run over. I'm going to blame it on Congress. Basically, I'm tired of this. Republicans, have you ever heard of Harry Truman saying the buck stops here? He was president. That means he took responsibility for what happened when he was in the office. That's what George Bush should do. It doesn't matter who's in Congress. You take responsibility. If you're president of the United States, you say it's my fault. You don't go blame it on someone else.
Okay, sorry, your time is up. And the final word, young Republicans.
George Bush has taken responsibility. When he makes a mistake, he admits it. Bill Clinton apparently hadn't made any mistakes. First of all, I want to say that with the Democratic Congress and the Republican president, the gridlock protects. Bush has protected us from the tax increases that the Congress has proposed. We also have to look at Mr. Clinton's record in Arkansas and see how many tax increases he's put in his office, term of office.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, this next question will be directed to Mr. Perot's supporters. One of the major criticisms leveled at Mr. Perot is that he seems to have had a hard time making up his mind He was in the race, then he got out, and now he's back in again. Can the American people count on Mr. Perot when times get tough?
Oh yes, me again, go on complain. Here we go. In July, Mr. Perot dropped out. That's a fact. He got back in after people in all 50 states put him on the ballot. Now, I ask you this. If he wasn't worth putting on the ballot, then why did all those people go out and waste their time on Mr. Perot to put him on the ballot in 50 states? Okay. Now, he has accused the Republicans of producing false photographs of his daughter to ruin her wedding. That's why he says he dropped out. He has no proof. You can believe it or you can't. There's no two ways about it. Well, Mr. Perot got back in because he saw that neither the Republicans nor the Democrats were facing the issues. The issues are the economy. That's where our country's problem lies. If you get the economy back on track, everything else will fall in place with not as much effort as the other two say. They want to put all the effort everywhere else but the economy. The economy is our foremost problem. And when Mr. Perot got back in, he has vowed to help you and help the country. You can live the American dream when the economy's back on track. The only way the economy is going to get back on track is to kick the Democrats and the Republicans out and let somebody with the business sense in.
Okay, Mr. Perot did not only announce that he would run for president if all 50 states had him on their ballot. He was not on the ballot at that time, so he went ahead and dropped out. I mean, he didn't quit. I mean, he was not on there, so he wasn't running. But the people, the ones who are crying for help, that are tired of all this wishy-washy stuff from the Republican and the Democrats, who have people who make up their images for them. I mean, you get Mr. Perot as he is. He has not hired anybody to make up his image to present him as something he is not. Mr. Perot is Mr. Perot. And so therefore, since you have put him back in there, and the supporters, and he's on all 50 states now, that is when he changed his mind and decided that maybe he does need to get out there and help the people. So he is there for us.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll let the young Democrats tackle this one.
I want everyone in here to do something for me for a minute. I want everyone to close your eyes, relax. Now, close your eyes. I want you to envision Dan Quayle or Stockdale as President of the United States.
Okay? Young Republican.
Being president is tough. Many problems arise. Problems much worse than the alleged sabotage of someone's wedding. We have seen in Mr. Perot's business deals that if he doesn't get his own way, he quits. If elected and if he gets in gridlock with Congress, what's he going to do? Get his ball and bat and go home and leave America without a president? Bush has proven himself, even through a war. Bush has shown his skills and won't desert America.
Okay, and the final word, independence.
Dr. Vice President, let me ask you a question. If you were locked in a bamboo cage in Vietnam for 8 years, how would you be? I don't think you'd be as sane as Mr. Gore. But Mr. Gore strikes me as the type of politician like he acts in Congress. Somebody's got their hand up his behind and they're running his mouth with their hand. He says what you want to hear. And what you want to hear is what he says. No two ways about it. He is for you when you want something. And then when he goes to another crowd, he is for them. That's all there is to it. Thank you.
I don't think there's anything else that I could say that can measure up to what he just said. He put it all in a nutshell for you.
Okay. Let's turn our attention now. Turn our attention to foreign affairs. We'll direct this question to the young Democrats. There are many hot spots in the world today, young Democrats. The United States could be drawn into one of these wars at almost any time for quite a few reasons. What makes Mr. Clinton qualified to deal with such a crisis?
Okay. The wall is down. There's no more Soviet Union. What are we going to do? Okay. I don't think George Bush actually did the wall himself. I don't think he was the man that crumbled the Soviet Union. This has been in the making since World War II. It's included a number of Democratic leaders like Truman, Carter, and Kennedy. Now, Clinton, he has the overall strength and outlook that the nation needs to, to help out in foreign affairs. Like, and people say, well, he hasn't had any experience in foreign affairs. Arkansas has had many products that they have shipped overseas, and Clinton was the one that got these to be able to be sent overseas. Now, when people say, well, he has had no military experience, he's not going to be able to run the country's military. Well, how many of you remember Franklin Delano Roosevelt? Well, none of us were alive then. But he was never in the military, and he won World War II for us. So I don't think that's an issue at all. I think that the foreign affairs, as far as that's concerned, I think that the way Clinton has acted in the state of Arkansas, that can serve as guidelines in his dealing, and we can look at that as how he's going to deal with foreign nations.
Okay, we'll let the young Republicans rebut that.
Number one, Bill Clinton is not Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Bill Clinton has no experience in foreign affairs. He has shown us, though, he can go to foreign soil and demonstrate against the Vietnam War. How could he be able to send American soldiers to fight when he ran away from Vietnam? Bill Clinton has not earned the right to be commander-in-chief of this country. George Bush has already proven himself qualified for the position of commander-in-chief. He flawlessly led an assault against Saddam Hussein and his forces. He made the right choices about what needed to be done, how to do it, and when to do it. He led the world to a victory against an evil dictator. Thank you.
Okay, Young Independents.
Okay, whether or not you're aware or not, the Republicans and both the Democrats have employed lobbyists, foreign lobbyists, as part of their campaign office, and they're being supported by foreign lobbyists. That is just like spies. If Mr. Perot is an all-American man, he has all-American people, you, and people like me, in there to support him. Okay, we all know that the Democrats have no experience in foreign policies or anything. I mean, he didn't even go into the Navy or the Army or any other thing. But we do know that the Perot position has a very strong, Army military basis. I mean, look at Stockdale. Stockdale is a very, very good man. I mean, he served his country well, as did Perot. They served their country to the fullest that they could. And this also stands for something about their foreign policy, because they will be able to relate.
Your time is up. Thank you.
To the
And the final word on foreign affairs, Young Democrats.
Bill Clinton has had discussions with Boris Yeltsin. Okay. Now, something was mentioned about Vietnam a minute ago. As far as I'm concerned, and I think as far as the future of this country is concerned, that's in the past and that is history. That's not an issue. Why are we dealing with that? That's not the question that Mr. Dempsey asked, but if you're going to bring it up, I'm going to talk about it. That's not an issue.
In this election, Bush has made people believe that he is a foreign policy man, and he's brought out all the good points. He has made some good points in foreign policy. But Hussein is still alive, and in the middle 80s, I think we had a scandal called the Iran-Contra affair, and that's not very good in foreign policy.
A lot has been said. This question will be directed to the Republicans. A lot has been said about Mr. Clinton's character as an issue. Governor Clinton has brought up some character problems also with President Bush. Is character an issue, and why is it an issue?
Yes, character is an issue. We need to know the character of the president and the character of the candidates. We cannot elect a man who told the state of Arkansas that he would not run for president if elected governor, and then said if he did run, he would get the consent of the people of Arkansas. He's running for the presidency now, but he did not get the consent of the people of Arkansas. We cannot elect a man who went to organize and demonstrate against his own country, a foreign soul. We cannot elect a man who ran from the draft so that he would not have to fight for his country. But we can elect a man who when he was 18, went to fight for his country in World War II. We can elect a man who was committed to family values and the restoration of family values in this great country of ours. President Bush also led us through one of the shortest and least costly wars of our country's history. We can elect a man who has guided us through economic hardship, and now the economy is recovering. Yes, we need to know the character of the man who we elect president because he is a representation of the people of this great country and the country itself. Thank you.
All right, young independents, the character issue.
I have to agree, character is an issue, and it takes character to be a man. And both candidates have shown a lot of character by throwing names at each other like a bunch of 4-year-olds. It takes character to be a leader. Look at the one who has the most character. Thank you.
Okay, and young Democrats.
I still don't like this judging people. I'm no one to judge. The Republicans are no one to judge. You do not judge other people. That's the way I've been brought up. I'm sorry if you don't like it. Okay. Let me say one thing about character. Talking about, speaking about lies and stuff like that. How many of y'all remember four years ago when George Bush went, "Read my lips, no new taxes"? And then you bring up, well, how come you can't remember what you did in the Soviet Union? Let me ask you to do something. Tell me everything minute by minute that you did in the 3rd grade. That was 8 years ago. Now for Bill Clinton, this was 20 years ago. You can't do it. You can't, I mean, it's impossible to say, it's impossible to say. This is what the media is going crazy on Bill
Okay, your
Clinton.
time is up, and we'll let the Republicans have the last word on this one.
Let me just say that when I was in the 3rd grade, it's probably hard for me to remember things there because I was young. Bill Clinton was about 20 years old. He should remember what happened when he was in Russia. Yes, character is an issue. And character, let me just say, I did not judge anybody. The Republicans have not judged anybody. We want to know the character of the man. We want to know how he did it, why he did it, when he did it, because we want to see what this man will do in the future. What we've done in the past are examples of how we can handle things in the future. That is why character is an issue. That's why we need to elect George Bush, because he's got the character to do the job. Thank you.
We're now down to the final question of the debate. It has to do with term limitation. After we finish our usual rounds with this question, each side will have 2 minutes to summarize and make their final statements. The question is directed to the young independents. Do you support or oppose term limitations for the U.S. House and Senate, and why?
First of all, I'd like to ask you all a question I'd like you to answer. Do you believe what's fair for you should be fair for someone else your age or in your position? No. Okay, well, I see none of y'all are dead, so let's just get on with it. Mr. Perot supports term limits. The president has a term limit. Why not Congress? Congress, you have an example is Jesse Helms, senator or congressman, I forgot which. And he's been in there for like nearly all his life. And what has he done? Nothing. The first couple of terms he was in there, he got something done. Now he's not doing anything but sitting there passing stuff because money's being slipped into his pocket. Now, if you have term limits on Congress, that means Congress, you would have new members in, new ideas, and a change ever so often. And that's what this country needs, is change. The gridlock's there in Congress, the gridlock's there in the White House. Get term limits in Congress, get new people in Congress, get new people in the White House, and this country will be great again. Mr. Perot will be the new man for president. You make term limits available for Congress, and let Mr. Perot work with Congress, and you will have the American dream, and you will get your country back. I promise you that.
Okay, thank you very much. Young Democrats, term limitations.
The Democratic Party opposes term limits for the House and Senate. We do. Something needs to be done. We need some kind of campaign reform where we put a ceiling on contributions so the challenger will have a chance to raise as much money as an incumbent. But term limits in the House and Senate would not allow the people to elect who you wanted. A good senator would have to go after 2 terms. And there's some veterans up there that probably need to go. There's also some veterans up there that need to be there because they know how to run the country. And you're not allowing the people to elect who you want. And we're against term limits.
Term limitations are maybe good for a state like California. Look how big it is. But it hurts a state like Arkansas. Arkansas is a small state, has a small population, and it's hard for us to produce great leaders every 2 terms.
All right, your time is up. Young Republicans, term limitations.
Term limitations are not going to limit the people's, but we have term limits for presidency. Does that mean that if Reagan had wanted to run again 4 years ago, that, since he can't because there's term limits, so maybe, do you see my point? But, well, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. Okay, it's become obvious throughout the years, the longer a person stays in office, the more addicted he becomes to the power of being in office. And that has caused our $4 trillion debt. Over 50 years ago, our country decided to limit the terms of presidents so that one man wouldn't gain too much power. We've already stated that unlimited terms in office breeds a fanatical wanting for more power. It has been there for several terms now. And it is time for a change. The Democrats keep saying, okay, it's time for a change, it's time for a change. You're right, it's time for a change.
All right, thank you very much. And the independents will have the last word on this question.
Okay, on term limitations, I would just like to restate what our first independent stated about new ideas. Once you're in there after a couple of terms, say 2 or 3, then you just lose your purpose. You're just up there just for the glory of being a congressman for several years. I mean, you're not allowing your state or the people you represent the most any choice in government because you're such a biased person, or should I say, a lame duck. You're just up there. I believe that term limits should be set because, this is your country, and you need to elect your leaders who can do the best job for you. So therefore, term limits and getting new ideas in there is a necessity, and we stand that term limits should be a policy.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank each of the teams. Now we're going into the final phase. You will have 2 minutes for your final remarks. We'll begin with Young Republicans.
Okay, the point of today's debate is to influence your decision on electing our president for the next 4 years. You have 3 choices. You can vote for Clinton and be sure that you'll be voting for a future in radicalism and extremism in which you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Or you can vote for Perot, who offers you a quick fix, but with some hidden surprises. It took us over 200 years to get to where we are today. And changes don't happen overnight. You can't expect a change to happen like that. Changes happen gradually. Or you can vote for Bush, who offers a future in security and maturity, in which you'll know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, and in the long run, you'll be better off. And remember, when you say that Bush hasn't done anything for the last 4 years, just remember, he can't give everyone a job. No one can. He can't make everyone live right. No one can. He can't introduce a bill or vote on one, and he can't be more than one place at one time, and no one can.
What's your point?
Bush has done nothing over the last 4 years, except win a war, win a Cold War, help end the Berlin Wall, help negotiate the fall of the Soviet Union, help crush 3 dictators, and help deal with the Democratic Congress. No democracy has ever lasted over 200 years until its people voted it into bankruptcy. America is 216 years old. Never have so many people had so much for so long. Yes, we are in tough economic times, but God forbid that we sell out our most sacred beliefs for the hope of economic gain.
Okay? Young Independents. Final 2 minutes.
If you have to take one thing out of that speech, take this. Bush did not do anything. That is all. There is no except, no buts about it. He didn't do anything. Now, how many of you want your country back to you? How many of you want the economic problems to start working themselves out? Please, how many of you want it back? How many of you want to actually live better than your parents do right now? How many of you want to have high-paying jobs when you get out of college? How many of you want to be able to go to college? Now, there's only one candidate up here who can do that, and that is Ross Perot. He can give your country back to you. He can let you live the American dream, but you have to give him a chance. Everybody else wants a chance. You gave Bush a chance. He didn't do anything. You give Clinton Gore a chance, the country will be worse. Ross Perot is the only candidate that will not worsen the problem. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. Those of you that are for Perot, united we stand, America.
Thank you, Young Independents. Now the final 2-minute statement from the Young Democrats.
Just think about it for a minute. Do you or your parents, well, if you're working 4 years ago, do your parents have more money in their pocket now than they had 4 years ago?
No.
No, they don't. Now, I'm not going to sit here and dog on Bush like he has during the whole campaign on Clinton. Clinton's talked about himself, and Bush has talked about Clinton. So we know a lot about Clinton. But what you need to do is tomorrow before your parents vote, or if you're 18 and you're going to vote, just think about it. Think about how you want this country to be in 4 years.
During this campaign year, many of you have heard that if you're a Christian, you shouldn't vote for Bill Clinton. Maybe you've gotten the impression that anyone who didn't fight during the Vietnam War is un-American. And just maybe you've heard that it is lethal to America's future to trust Bill Clinton. Well, maybe you haven't heard that there's a candidate who believes in the verse, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Maybe you haven't heard that there's a candidate that offers competence rather than conflict, caring rather than corruption, vision rather than divisiveness, and perhaps you haven't heard that George Herbert Walker Bush talking about trust is like Madonna advocating family values. 12 years is long enough for an industrialized nation to have no economic strategy, no unifying vision, no common purpose. Americans cannot afford 4 more years of trickle-down economics and an administration without a plan to turn this country around. The Democratic Party believes in a place called hope. We believe in a better place than where we are. We believe in us instead of them. We believe, and Bill Clinton and Al Gore still believe, in one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all people. We still believe in the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay, those are the closing words of this debate. I think all of you can see how much hard work went into these presentations. We want to thank each one of the members of the team. I'd like for each of you to stand. All of you stand, please, and let's give them a round of applause. Okay, we'd like for you to remain in your seats until you're dismissed by the bell to go to the next period.